game that, like, we really like. It's going to be difficult to talk about right now. It's going to be a lot of if this, then that. Like, choose your own adventure. Turn to page 69, and the wind gusts are 100 miles per hour. Buffalo, a 9.5-point home favorite against Pittsburgh. Total in the game is 34. TJ Watt out for the Steelers. Gabe Davis out for the Buffalo Bills. And Rasul Douglas questionable for Buffalo. Like, not great news for the Bills secondary. Also, it might be 60 mile per hour winds, and it might not matter.
Yeah, the action in this game has been really interesting. Like, at the start of the week, TJ Watt out, my first thought would be, man, like, everyone's going to like Buffalo, and the price is going to get bet out in their direction just because of, like, the TJ Watt out angle. And that's not what's happened at all, because the weather is, like, totally obscured how people are thinking about the game. Not even that, like, they're thinking about it wrong, just they're thinking about it differently because the conditions are going to be so crazy. I never want Pittsburgh at anything like this. I just don't. So I don't think I'm going to lay Buffalo, but let's see how far this drops, honestly. Also, I think Buffalo's starting to get into some range of some teasers. So, here's like the dream 7-pointer, because I didn't answer that question before, is Bills 2.5, Rams 10.5 if the Lions go to 3.5 in that game on Sunday. And you're able to basically bet like the Bills to win and the Rams to keep it within 10. And I would pay that price in order to make that bet. I'm going to try to find ways to play the Bills to win the game. Don't really want to bet the side right now. I don't want Pittsburgh I don't want Mason Rudolph likely in a deficit in these conditions ever. I don't want it. Josh Allen can at least run straight ahead. At least they can do that. Total in the game is probably right because I don't know what the hell the weather's going to be like. That's it for now.
No, I did say earlier in the week that I would, if we get to Sunday and the weather is going to be like insane and it's not football and the spread was going to be 10, I'd like the Steelers. It feels like the 10's not coming back right at this point, that we're going to like hover in this range now, more than 7, like more than 8, less than 10 for.
Yeah. Some of the 9.5s got bet back up. So like, I think we're just in this in between range, and my hope is just like we get in between a little bit less than what we are right now to maybe make some bets. Probably need to put on the meteorologist cap for the Steelers-Bills game, which they'd kind of like a couple people floated like, are they going to move this game? They're not. They're going to play it, and it's going to be pretty crazy. Really high winds. You can kind of give us more of a forecast and probably explain it a lot better than I can. But the market for this game, really interesting. Steelers money has come in the last 24 hours. This is now Bills by 9. The first 8.5 has now appeared in this game. #teaser. And then the Steelers total in the game, 33.5 with the Steelers and Bills. So 9 and 33.5, not usually a playoff market. Give us an idea of the weather and the bets that you like.
Yeah, let's go with the weather first. So really interesting developments here in the last about 12 hours in Buffalo. Full-blown winter storm warnings posted. They have safety alerts. It's publicly, not safe or encouraged to even travel anywhere. It's going to be next to impossible, quite honestly, to do so. It's going to go downhill rapidly. If you're in that narrow band of snow, it could just be full-blown whiteout conditions. If you're just outside of it, nothing. So we don't know exactly where that's going to line up. The fear is, and the modeling is showing, and I've seen some of the advanced radar imagery and the projection with that the band is going to set up shop over Orchard Park, New York, where the Bills play professional football. If that is the case, yes, it's going to be a snow globe, and really just adding insult to injury or the winds. 25 miles an hour sustained. You don't know what that means? Consistent winds, folks, with gusts approaching 50 or possibly even exceeding 50. That's full-blown blizzard conditions at times here in Buffalo. That's why the totals come way down. And understandably, too, the spread has reduced as well, because I think it's going to be maybe a one-possession game. You can't kick in this kind of weather. It's run maybe only in this weather. If you're going to pass, it's going to be within 10 yards. So I love Josh Allen. Anytime touchdown. I grabbed that a couple of days ago at plus 100. I actually like him to get maybe 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. I like the rush attempts over on Josh Allen at 8.5. I grabbed that earlier today at BetMGM at minus 130. And then, on the other side of the ball, I love Najee Harris over 15.5 rush attempts. He's done this in better conditions in 3 straight games. He is going to be a certifiable Clydesdale in this kind of weather scenario. And I also like the over on Jalen Warren rush attempts, and I grabbed that number at 7.5. So various ways, myriad ways to play this, but I do like the under. I do like the Bills to win straight up. I do like the Steelers on the spread. And again, I am pounding the over on some of the rushing yards and rushing attempts props that are available.
The Chiefs are like a reasonable favorite, about a 4.5 point favorite. So, they have to win by 6, about a touchdown maybe to cover the point spread. Are you surprised by that? A lot of people can't go to Kansas City and beat Mahomes. It's like Brady and Joe Burrow, and that's it. And nobody's ever done it besides that. Tua, do you see that for him? 60 to 90 seconds, just maybe a guess about how you see the game playing out. Do you give the Dolphins a fighting chance?
Well, nothing. Yeah, I do give the Dolphins a chance. They have, while their record has not shown them with a lot of success on the road against winning teams, and even struggling at home with winning teams, we know they're still a very potent ball club. I do think a different kind of personality and aura surrounds teams once they get to the postseason. The Chiefs, for instance, have been kind of clunky with their offense most of the year. And we have seen teams in the past which have shifted once the postseason begins. We have seen teams that have gone in maybe staggering a little bit and found their groove and taken that right through to the Super Bowl. Nothing would surprise me about the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And then I would offer that same thing with the Dolphins as well. It's new territory for them, clearly. Just having to be a team that was near the top of the AFC most of the season, and now, having to go on the road in the first week in this wild card weekend. But I wouldn't be surprised by any outcome clearly tomorrow. I wouldn't say if the weather were 40 degrees and no precipitation, no wind, probably give a nod to the Chiefs just because they've been down this road before. But I'm not discounting the Dolphins at all. I've seen too many of their games this season, broadcasted too many of their games to know their resilience, even with the defensive injuries. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, but I think it'll be a very close game.
Joel Embiid, who was leading the straw poll by margin, was on his way to winning back-to-back MVPs, is going to miss the game tonight and maybe more games. This calls into question whether he can win MVP, because if he misses a total of 17 games this year, or a total of 18 games, he is ineligible. He can only miss 17. Tonight will be number 10. He can only miss 17. Tonight will be number 10. He is up to 9-1 in a couple places now to win league most valuable player. And so the market has gone crazy with the idea that, like, is he going to come? We don't know when he's coming back. They got a back-to-back. They play Jokic in the second game next week. They play Houston in the first game next week in a back-to-back. What do you make of this? Do you know when Embiid's coming back? Are you betting into this market? This is pretty crazy right now.
I don't know when he's coming back. I would tell you that I have a lot of confidence. There was a report right before he came on the air that he's practicing and might be available Monday or Tuesday. In Sixers terms, like, everybody might play at some point. But I will say I expect him to play Tuesday no matter what. It's a home game versus Jokic. There's a lot of ways in which this works out for Embiid, and maybe like one of the optimum ones for him is that he is so dominant and looks like he's going to win and is top of the straw poll and everybody agrees he's MVP, and he doesn't have to like keep it up because, he missed too many games. It's a shame. He would have won, but he just didn't win. He didn't actually have to put the foot down. He's played, I was telling you this before we went on the air, Ken, he's played in 2 games versus teams over 500 on the road this season. 2. One of them was the Hawks and one of them was the Thunder with Chet Holmgren at 208 pounds at center. So great team, but big advantage for Embiid there. He's going to have to play some of those. They have a number of back-to-backs left. Their schedule is not necessarily rest advantageous over the back half of the season. I think there's a very strong possibility he is going to wind up missing too many games to win this award. All that said, like, if you're trying to figure out when to plan the market, wait till he comes back. And if you already have an Embiid position, that's awesome. Wait till he comes back. He will probably win and look awesome versus Jokic because they're at home in a great spot on Tuesday. The numbers will probably flip. Embiid's back. He's going to play, and look at what he just did to Jokic. And then you got an opportunity to get in on whoever else it is that you want. But I will also say that after the straw poll was a lot of that was the first moment of introspection on the award, right? Of like, who do we think is going to win this thing? Like, what does this look like? And a lot of the smarter analysts were like, I hadn't really actually thought about it much, but man, it looks like it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So I will continue to say that the best bet in the market is going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has a wider margin than Embiid. I think is right there with him by any measure that you want to get to, and has actually done things like play versus good teams and beat them and not run up his stats versus the Wizards. So I think there's a very good chance that Shai is probably the best bet right now, but I would wait until after Tuesday when I expect the Sixers to beat the Nuggets.
What do you think the Patriots' win total would be next year if they roll into next year with a rookie starting quarterback in that division with a brand new head coach moving on from Bill Belichick?
Well, we did this a little bit yesterday because I brought it up and I said, are they going to have the lowest win total in the league next year with like kind of this setup? And I'm kind of like, all right, them or Carolina, them or Washington, all the teams that we're talking about, they're going to take quarterbacks basically, or took their quarterback already and he's terrible and we don't know who their coach is going to be, like Carolina.
And small.
And yeah, and small and maybe not particularly good. And maybe it has a terrible offensive line and no receivers. And the difference, which you bring up, obviously, is that the Patriots play in a much tougher division. They'll be much less likely to win all 6 of those games. Rodgers back for the Jets. The Dolphins will be really good again. The Bills will be really good again. So I think, and you could give him a different rookie quarterback. It wouldn't matter. I don't think signing T. Higgins matters actually either. And I know you brought that up just because it's fun to think about. But like whether they sign him or not, I think the win total is actually exactly the same. And whether they draft a receiver or not, I think it's exactly the same. It's Gerard Mayo, and we do the coach quarterback pairings in the offseason. Like this is how we found the Saints win total under. It was like my favorite bet of the offseason, and it won. Is you just look at like coach and quarterback and the number in the market, and they should kind of make sense. Okay, like Gerard Mayo, and Jaden Daniels is fine, whatever. McCarthy, I don't even know there's like one other quarterback I feel like I'm missing that's not May and Caleb Williams, but yeah, but like I don't think that's where he's going. So like he's older too. I think those
are like the top, like considered to be the top 5, right? Caleb, May, Jaden Daniels, Penix, and McCarthy.
Right. So I think, like Bo Nix, no. So I guess I'm not missing anybody. I thought there was like one other name that I was like, has like an outside shot. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Any of the quarterbacks, if they took Caleb Williams, let's say like trade up to number 1, like, oh man, like we got to go get like the next Tom Brady, and they go trade for Caleb, like it wouldn't matter. Gerard Mayo, rookie quarterback in the division, 4.5, 5.5, maybe something like that. And I mean, it's like, oh, like what would you bet? I don't know. I mean, I think that's right. I think they would be appropriately rated as terrible. We have no track record of this coach, and Gerard Mayo could end up being a great coach for the Patriots. I have no idea what he's going to be. Could end up being awesome and kind of deserves the benefit of the doubt for at least a year and a few games to see what's going on. So it could overachieve, but the expectation should be like, here's a coach with no track record, and here's a rookie quarterback, and you're going to be a dog in basically every single game that you play. So when that happens, think slightly better than Arizona would be like a really good projection for this year. And that's, 5.5 probably makes a lot of sense. I guess they could open it more than that. I just don't know why that would be the case, and I don't know who would want the over. And that, like, there's because it's, like Belichick, Tomlin, these coaches that were around for a long, it's always just like, oh, well, they can figure it out, and, they're going to get to 7 or 8 like this is going to happen. And that's gone now. You can't argue that anymore. The guy's not there anymore. So it's just, all you have left is no players and a rookie quarterback and an impossible schedule. Yeah, like, I don't know, 5 makes sense.